marriages from best to worst, according to an online survey between heterosexual traditional marriages between a man and a woman, a gay marriage between two men, and a lesbian marriage between two women. Now, I'm sure some bisexuals are probably watching this thinking, well, what about the bisexual marriage? Well, when you're married, you can only marry one, not both. So I'm sorry, but once you get married to someone, you're going to have to pull those fence boards out of your ass and quit sitting on that fence hardcore. Because if you go out with someone else while you're married, that would be considered cheating. So your bisexual card is null and void if you're married. Unless it's an open marriage. But we're not talking about open marriages. We're talking about marriages where it's just you and your spouse. And that's it. Now for the gay marriage between two men. You got both men that are working really hard. They both have something to bring to the table. They're both logical thinkers. They're probably going to have similar interests, hobbies, and whatnot. Most get married with more than just one interest, and that's what makes a relationship last. Am I saying that it's a perfect marriage? No. They don't have a perfect marriage. You're going to have some fallouts here and there. But I'm pretty sure between the two of them, they're going to work out a solution to fix it. And it would get resolved within maybe a week at the longest, or less. But for the most part, both of them are going to have common ground and can relate to one another. They can get into the same hobbies, such as restoring cars, or fixing appliances, restoring appliances. Projects that they can get into together, and they'll be enjoying each other's company while they do it. Now, me as a heterosexual man, I'm jealous of that because I am not going to find a woman that has those qualities. But I'll talk about that in just a moment, because the heterosexual marriage is coming up in just a few minutes. Now, am I saying that their interest is going to be down to the T and have everything in interest? No. There's going to be some things they like different from one another, and that's perfectly normal. However, if you're the polar opposite of one another, that's not going to last long at all unless you're a simp and thinking that it's just cheaper just to keep the relationship going. But more than likely, their relationships is not going to be an opposite attract. They're going to have common interests that they can get together and enjoy. And if you're happy with one another, nothing else matters. And it's a good chance that a relationship like that can last for decades, maybe for the rest of your life. Now we go for the second longest lasting marriage as of 2024. The traditional marriage between a man and a woman. These are the relationships that I'm into. But I choose not to because I stated reasons why in my last video. You have the man that brings lots of things to the table. Financial support, house, car, steady job. It may not be a rich life, but he'll give you a good life. Now, what do these women bring to the table as of 2024? Well, they say bizarre things like, I am the table. So in other words, you just exist, and that's the reason why we should marry you. We should just accept your bad behavior, your narcissist ways. And a lot of us men are idiots because most of us go along with it. And I guess eventually most of us is going to get the picture that this is the type of woman you cannot please. She is not the type that you could make into a wife because these women are not wife material. Men get married for love. Women today get married for a lifestyle. So if you guys are all in for this, get ready to be disappointed. And what makes these marriages end, it's not the man that's doing it. It's 80%, 85% of the women that's doing this. And they normally do this after they have kids. Because guys, when you get married to her, you're not marrying her. You're also marrying the state as well. And you should not sign any government contracts at all whatsoever. Because a lot of these women follow this trend of, I need to go out and find myself. So you know what that usually means to you? It means that she's going to go to divorce court, pull the lever on the slot machine, and steal all your shit that you worked for. And your kids. But she won't steal that child support payment. She's going to take the money from it, but you're going to pay for that bill. And what's amazing about social media is, like I said before, if you give these women enough time, they will rat on themselves. They're making videos out there and posting them online where everyone can see on how they scam men in a marriage. Most women are planning a divorce before they get married to the man. Women are not logical thinkers, they're emotional thinkers, so chances are they're only going to be thinking about themselves. Because if you think she loves you, think again. You're going to see how much she really does love you when she's in divorce court, fake crying her eyes out. So that's one of the main reasons why a traditional marriage don't last long anymore. Thanks to social media, such as TikTok, where you got these women that are giving piss-poor advice to other women, like I mentioned in my previous video. Now, I know it's hard, guys. I know that us men are idiots. We fall for this shit every single time. We get that warm, mushy feeling deep down in our nuts that there's someone out there for us. Someone that would love us unconditionally. Only to be kicked in the teeth at the end when we find out that that special unicorn that we found wound up putting that horn up our ass in divorce court. So every time I get that feeling, I think about it logically on what the consequences are. Because there's just too much to risk. You would lose everything you worked hard for. And you got to remind yourself that you cannot make them happy. They're never happy. If there's nothing that she can complain about, she's going to find something to complain about. If you want that long-lasting family life where you got everyone over for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and just have a nice, happy family get-together like your parents and your grandparents had, I hate to say it, but those days are over with. And I don't think they're coming back. Now we move on to the worst marriage out there. The lesbian marriage between two women. Both are emotional thinkers. Both say that they are the table. And then when they realize they can't scam each other, usually they wind up having the most fights. Wind up being the couples that gets the cops called on them the most. To break up fights. A woman's biggest enemy out there is another woman. And they're always into competition with one another. The house or the apartment that they live in is usually destroyed or in bad shape. The car that they drive around in is a 1990 maroon Saturn with a missing rear bumper. And I guess the reason why they have the most fights is it just goes down to their nature. Because only a woman can understand another woman. And they hate each other.